morning, you beautiful people. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your morning today here with Coffee and Crypto. Jebb is out for his monthly planning meeting, but go figure, the trend continues. Jebb leaves and something explosive happens. I think I already saw a comment on there saying Jebb maybe should be out of town a little more often. It's not necessarily true, but it is weird that every time he leaves for these business meetings, Bitcoin decides it wants to play ball. Guys, we got a great show for you guys today. This is probably, I haven't done my research on it, but this is probably the best show on all of YouTube, teaching people how to think, not what to think, in the pursuit of financial sovereignty. If that is something that you love, hit that like button right now. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Be a part of this group. It is an amazing team, amazing community. Jebb says it all the time. This isn't something he did or we as in the workers here. This is something we have done, meaning us and all of you guys. Without you, this would not be possible. So thank you so much. Before we jump into what the show is about today, we have a different kind of dynamic going on. We don't have Kelly. T-Shroom just left yesterday for basic training up in South Carolina. So it is a different group. My co-host for today is my brother Caleb. Caleb, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Woke up this morning, went to the gym. Feeling alive, feeling great. So let's get started. I feel like we got the Warren takeover here today.
Did you drink your coffee this morning? You sound a little more up than normal.
Trying to be more enthusiastic right now. But I feel really great. Really great to be here.
Do you have a lot of thoughts for us today about crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, all that stuff?
Well, I'm excited that the market's going back up. You're just looking at everything, like everything's making reversals. So yeah, excited to see what comes up.
Well, as Caleb said, this is almost like a Warren takeover because that's Caleb Warren. I'm Tim Warren. And now, before I introduce the person that Jebb usually does second, I do things a little different. I want to introduce my wife, Taylor Warren, sitting at the research desk. Taylor, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning, everybody. It is an awesome day. I also went to the gym today, and we smashed it.
We did.
We really did.
We did. It was a great morning. The last person in the room who is not last named Warren, it is old Smainold, your favorite technical director / producer. Smay, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I went to the gym as well, and I did work out as well. And I also bought AVAX yesterday, which is pretty good.
Yes,
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm thinking about buying more. But, guys, I want to do something a little unconventional today. You know, today's a little bit of an unconventional kind of day. You know, feeling a little good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead. You know, I usually shout out 3 of the nights or whatever. I'm going to shout out a bunch of Jebb younglings today because I love you guys. I don't want you guys to feel left out. So without further ado, I'm going to shout out Crypto Sarah, Austin B, Tom Samanich.
It's not so easy, is it?
No. Michael Hall, Maka, the Philosopher, B8S4, John McSpadden.
Yeah.
Whew, this one's going to be a tough one. Saifik Suhami. I love you guys. I love you all. You guys are the best. And I just wanted to make sure that you younglings felt just as loved and cared for. And I love you guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah. Love you guys. As I said, today's going to be a really good show. If you are one of the people who is like, oh, I only want to watch the show if Jebb is here, close your eyes and pretend he's here because it's still going to be a good show even without him. We're doing a lot. We're going to be doing a kind of market rundown to begin the show, but then we're going to jump into a couple different altcoins. We're going to spend a little bit of time, not a lot, a little bit of time in Cardano, but also talking about BNB and Solana. Then we'll jump into what everyone really wants to hear, Bitcoin and Ethereum, before we finish with covering a couple different projects. I want to get my list correctly because I don't want to misspeak, but we're going to be covering Link, XRP, Polkadot, and if we still have time, AVAX and Luna. If that is what you are excited about, again, hit that like button, smash subscribe, hit the bell, share with your friends. Let's start with doing a market review. And Smet, you can go ahead and go to my screen. I want to start on CoinMarketCap because this is where we normally do it. As you guys can see, I'm going to look real quickly. We got Bitcoin up here, up 5.76% on the day, but that's not even really that good compared to Ethereum's up 8%, BNB 7, Cardano down here is up 11.7, hitting close to that 10. Is there any other big ones? 13 for Polkadot. We're gonna take a look at all these. Normally what we do, just in case people were wondering, we normally come over here and say, what was the biggest mover in the last 24 hours? As you guys can see, I don't know what's happening in CoinMarketCap because it's now pulling every coin from anywhere that ever existed. But hey, if you invested in Fest Chain, you are up 12 million%. I think it was 12 million. It actually dropped now to 11, so you lost a little bit of money. I would go ahead and take your profit as soon as possible. But that doesn't really help anybody because put a 1 in chat if you ever heard of Fest Chain. Put a 7 if you've never, because I definitely have never. Instead, today we're going to be going to CoinGecko, which is another great website you can be looking at. Kind of, it's very similar to CoinMarketCap. It just gives you a different opinion. Here, I actually really like it because it gives me a look at maybe what has been the biggest mover in the last hour. So, for example, Phantom is moved 3.7% in the last hour. But let's look at what's happened in the last 24 hours. Phantom is still in the lead on the last 24 hours, 24.2%. Cardano also has had a nice little rally at 21.8. Let's see if there's anything else. Harmony 1, we talked about that a little bit yesterday, 17%. And any other ones that I'm looking at here, we got Curve DAO token up 12%. And of course, we talked about Polkadot here just a second ago, up 12% on the last 24 hours. Let's look at some of the biggest losers in the last 24 hours. Not a lot. Dash is down 1.6, but other than them, nobody else is down, not even the stable coins. So overall, as the title suggests and the description suggests, we are definitely seeing a lot of bullish action today. The question is, will we be able to sustain it, or was this simply just another rally before another dip as we continue to move sideways? So that being said, let's see here. I want to go ahead and jump into our first coin. And you're on my screen still, Smay? We're going to do BNB first. We're going to do BNB first, kind of look at what's happening there because BNB is for sure doing great today. Here we go. We're already on the chart. All right, so the first thing on BNB that we're noticing right here, I don't know why. Oh, I have two different resistance lines drawn there. Usually these lines, I'm actually trying to do some form of formation. But the first thing I noticed when I was looking at BNB this morning is there's two different lines of resistance we need to be paying attention to. And as you guys who have been watching the show for a while will know, while we are very bullish about crypto as a whole right now, we do think this is a season to be bullish. We want to make sure that we also give you bearish indicators of what's happening and make sure we're not just diluting everything to almost act like no matter what, prices are going up. So I want to start on the daily chart and kind of show you guys some reasons why, hey, Binance is sitting in a great spot, but let's keep an eye out for these two levels of resistance. It does look, after I've drawn this line, like Binance is starting to push through that first level. Of course, you guys can see I anchored that resistance back here on the 27th of December. And right now, we haven't closed this body, so let's keep looking the rest of the day. But can we break through this level of resistance with confidence and close some candle bodies above it? Or is this going to be maybe a spot where we reverse? The second line we would look for is right here. And again, the difference in price would be, are we going to be rejecting here around $480, or are we going to make it as high as 527 before we see serious resistance? That is a question. We'll look at some other indicators and oscillators to figure that out, but I just want to start off. That is something to look at. The fact that we're on that line right now means, hey, what are the bears and bulls doing right now? Let's keep an eye there. Let's look at the oscillators first. Go to RSI. The first thing, we're below the 50, so that doesn't mean that necessarily we have to keep going up. That is a good sign that that we are in a slightly more oversold than overbought position. But let's look at what we have here. I'm not seeing anything screaming at me on the daily chart in terms of bearish RSI divergence. So that's really good if you're someone who's kind of rooting for BNB to kind of break through that level of resistance. When we look at bullish RSI divergence, I actually want to kind of back it up. Let's go to the 3-day chart to kind of get a better look at this. But we do have some bullish RSI divergence clearly forming right here. You guys will see our price action is moving up steadily while our RSI is moving to the downside. That is bullish RSI divergence. So this is something with some confidence that we should actually be seeing a good little boost coming from Binance. On the MACD, we actually see that we're kind of moving sideways. You're seeing it's kind of hard to see. I don't know how clearly you guys can, but the blue line, while it's been coming down, we have been moving in a bearish fashion. It looks like it's kind of finding its bottom and should be reversing back up. We're nowhere close to a bullish MACD cross, but again, I am looking 3 daily. Let me go back to the daily just to kind of even help you guys out. I'll get rid of this right here so that doesn't confuse anyone. Sorry, guys, different story on the daily chart. We are actually converging into bullish MACD crosses. We're probably actually, by the looks of it, if we don't cross at some point today or tomorrow, at least by Friday, I would expect, unless something massive comes into the market that changes it, a bullish MACD cross. So that is another reason to be significantly bullish on Binance. Let's see here, Bollinger Bands and TD Sequential. These are other two things that I really love looking at. Here you guys see we had a red 8 flash, which is not quite to the 9 where it when we see a red 9, or we call it a green 9 because it means a green action is about to come, that usually is signaling a reversal to the upside. But a red 8, that is pretty darn close. And we saw we had a reversal right here, coinciding with, wow, words are hard, coinciding with the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, meaning, again, for those of you who don't know Bollinger Bands, these are kind of a metric that helps us look at when we're overbought, oversold. In this case, we were oversold. We're rallying up. We're kind of looking right now at that 20 daily SMA. We haven't really hit it just yet. Let's keep an eye out for that, but we are rallying back to it. This is the significant thing about Bollinger Bands. Sometimes, as you guys can see, we hit right here. We bounced off that 20 SMA and came down. But a lot of times when we were able to break through it, we're able to rally to the top side. So that's another indicator right here. Potentially, could BNB have, within the next couple of days, if not weeks, have the ability to rally as high as maybe all the way up to the high 500s. Again, let's keep our eyes on that 20 daily SMA first. And that's what I want to say here, guys, is while the technicals are screaming bullish things, screaming bullish movement, I do want to advocate for the fact that, guys, we're not yet through and done with this level of resistance right here, this descending level. We got to fight with that 20 daily SMA, and then we have this other downtrending level of resistance. I don't foresee or don't see that really being too much of a factor, but it is something to keep an eye on as we move forward. Let's go ahead and go into our second project, and that is Solana. I'm going to have to go take down these Bollinger Bands and TD sequential. But Solana, fun fact about Solana, Jebb called the bottom of Solana. I think we were back up here in December. We were around the price of $200. He called $130 for a bottom for Solana. And sure enough, what does this wick come down to? 127. Jebb was wrong by $3. So take that as you might. Pretty good call. And guess what? That wasn't Jebb just pulling it out of the air. That was Jebb reading technicals. I want to go and delete these. That was Jebb reading technicals and saying, hey, this is what I think is going to happen. But let's go ahead and look at a couple different levels of resistance that we need to be keeping our eye on, similar to what we did with BNB. And the first one I'm going to look at is these peaks right here. Let's go ahead and draw these lines. You know, we're well below that level of resistance. The other one, just like BNB, do we have a level right here that we need to be paying attention to? Let's grab this peak right here, come down. So again, we're kind of similar, sitting in a similar spot that we were in BNB in the sense that we had two different descending levels of resistance. We are currently sitting at that first one. Will we break through it with confidence? You guys can see the wick above means we did rally up. A couple bears have pushed us back down. Can we break through that level with confidence? And then we're shooting up to this one as well. So again, right here, we're struggling right around 147. Can we make it up somewhere in this region around 170? That's the question. Let's look at the RSI and see if anything significant is happening there. Again, we're below the 50. We're not below the 30, so it's not screaming oversold, but it is saying, hey, it's a little bit more sold than it is bought right now. We're kind of lower. Nothing happening right here with bearish RSI divergence as far as bullish. I wouldn't really look at that with any significance. We're clearly not seeing anything here. This is another one, I think, if you go out to the 3 daily chart and look at what's happening here. Yeah, sure enough, we do have some bullish RSI divergence. We have our bottom right here with our price going up, but on the other side, we have the RSI going down. So this is another one where it is looking to set up, if you're looking at these bigger time frames, which means you got to be patient and wait for them, but it is looking like we could be waiting on a bullish cross. Let's go back down to, not cross, but a bullish movement. Let's go to the MACD and kind of see what's happening there. Same kind of story, not as significant necessarily as BNB, but we are heading back up. We are heading for a bullish MACD cross, probably, if not, again, doesn't look like today would be the day unless we see a massive rally in the price, but maybe sometime tomorrow or the next day, a bullish cross on the MACD. Let's look at the Bollinger Bands and TD sequential, again, two of my favorites. Look at this, another red 8. We bounced off the bottom. We're rallying back up. Now, we are not as close to that 20 daily SMA, so we got some room to go. But that's what we're looking at. Can we significantly break this resistance? Can we significantly break that 20 daily SMA, break this other resistance, and then move towards the top of those Bollinger Bands before we have to have some form of a price reversal to respond? So Solana, guys, at least short term, is looking phenomenal right now. But let's go ahead and move to one of your absolute favorite coins. And we're going to spend a little bit more time on it than we have on the other two, and that is ADA Cardano. Guys, I am super excited about Cardano. I know you guys are as well. There, of course, is those haters out there. There are always going to be the people who say Cardano is dead. And that's what happens when you have a coin that decreases in price. Let's see here. Over the last couple months, we have decreased by 66%. You know, guys, there's a lot of discussion constantly. Are we in a bear market? Are we still in a bull market? Was this a retracement? At the end of the day, I think people have different definitions of what they call a bear market, what they call a bull market. At the end of the day, though, 66% to the downside is massive, not something to blink our eye at. I want to start off by telling everybody, Jebb and I were wrong at times. I in this region thought Cardano was primed and ready to go ahead and reverse. It kind of showed some life, but then was a fake out and came back down. Again, we thought it was going to rally right here. Sure enough, we did. We got up to what I said, guys, I wanted to buy around 135. I bought at 135. We ended up peaking out around 160. But, it reversed again. I thought we were rallying back up over $2, but it came back down. So I want to start by saying, as we look at this new bottom and Cardano begins to rally again up at 127 right now, there's no such thing as a sure thing. Just because the technicals are going to scream bullish, you got to give weight to people who are in a bearish camp of saying, listen, we've been here before. We've thought that the bottom was in. We've even seen significant rallies that follow those bottoms. It doesn't mean, though, that absolutely it's over. Although I would say, based off of how far Cardano has fallen and how much they are working on and doing, there's a lot of significant and good reasons to believe this would be the bottom. But I want every single person to decide that for themselves. Again, as we said at the beginning of the show, this show is not about teaching you what to think. It's about teaching you how to think. So I want you guys all coming to your own opinions, not just saying, well, Jebb thinks this, or Tim thinks this, or this guy over here thinks this, or this guy who's been... No, the whole goal is that you learn how to read the charts, you learn how to dissect the news and the on-chain metrics, and then you invest for yourself. So a couple reasons. Let's go ahead and break into the indicators and what is going on with Cardano. The first thing I want to start off with formations. We just, within the last day, broke out of a falling wedge. For those of you who do not know, falling wedges traditionally, again, more than 70% of the time, break to the upside. Not every time. If I had a lot of time here today, I could go back and show you times where falling wedges ended up breaking to the downside. But just so you know, falling wedges traditionally break to the upside, and sure enough, that's exactly what we did. So that's bullish indicator number one. As you guys are going to see, we do need to get through. There's another level of descending resistance right here. So we're going to look at our price levels somewhere in the region of around 135. Again, is a key metric and a key place to beat. Not only do we have a descending level of resistance giving that significance, if you go back and back analysis and look at price action, 135 is a key level of resistance / support, which is why a couple weeks ago I said I'm waiting for a confirmation of 135 before I buy. Sure enough, that 135 is continuing to play out. And you know what I'm going to do just for my own education and so I can keep an eye on it. I'm going to go ahead and put a flat level of resistance right there. So I will keep an eye on that line. Then again, we'll have another one falling that's somewhere in the region. By the time we break it, we're probably going to be closer to over here if we're messing with it, around 150. As you guys can see, that kind of coincides right there with the top of that closed daily candle right there. So let me go ahead and put another line right there at the 150 mark. This is another significant level of resistance. Small thing too, guys, we like to turn resistances reds just so we can clearly see them. Blue means good. Hey, that's a nice level of support. Red means bad. That's it's something we have to kind of push through. So that's the first thing we look at here from a formation standpoint. In a short time frame, this was foreseen. Cardano was ready to rally. The other day, I actually, just so you guys know, yesterday, when we broke this level right here at resistance, I went ahead and entered another long trade because I knew that this was screaming bullish. I'm keeping an eye here. I'm in the green. I'm making profit, but I am going to keep my eye, especially as we grow closer to these levels. Let's look at the oscillators and see if we see anything telling us a different story. The first thing right here, I don't even have to zoom out. I don't have to go to the 2-daily chart, the 3-daily chart. We see bullish RSI divergence right here. Again, we see the bottom of the RSI. We're ascending in price action, whereas the bottom of the price actions, if I use the same exact date, bottom of this red candle, we are decreasing. Bullish RSI divergence, another reason why it was time for Cardano to rally. But let's do a zoom out. Let's kind of look at what's happening because it's not just short time frame that we see a big rally. This time frame would tell me, hey guys, good reason to think we're going to get back up to the region of 150. But why do we think Cardano within the next couple of months is going to actually start approaching closer prices to not only all-time high, which is sitting here at 315, we actually think Cardano within this year is going to hit prices as high as maybe $5 to $7. What is a reason for larger time frame bullish price action? And that we do have to look at the 3-daily chart and kind of give a better indication. As you can see right here, this blue line is showing an uptick in price action. Is it massive? No, it's not massive, but our price has moved up. But look at that same time frame. Look at the bottom prices right there. We are clearly moving down. So on a short time frame, Yes, we have bullish R side divergence, which means we have good reason to think we can make it back as high as at least 150. But when we zoom out, now it's saying, okay, it's not just short term. We actually are primed and ready for a big rally from Cardano. A lot of things could mean we keep going down. Again, I don't want to discredit any bears who are looking at this and saying, hey, Tim, you've said this before. You've said the bottom was in. You're absolutely right. It is something we need to see play out, which is why people need to be keeping their eyes on the market. But there is almost, and I say almost because I'm sure that there's some other coin out there that I've never heard of that is doing a different job than this, but I have not seen any top altcoin in a better buy position than Cardano. And that is because, guys, yes, that 66% drop is massive. But what goes down, unless it is a stupid and broken project, will go back up. No other top project has dropped 66% since its most recent all-time high. Therefore, that's the reason why we're so bullish and so massively in on Cardano. But again, you make that decision for yourself. Don't just get involved because I got involved. Boom. All right, you can go off my chart, Smay. That was those 3 coins. We're about to jump into Bitcoin and then hear your discussion there. We're going to jump into Ethereum and other altcoins. But I do want to check in with chat, and I want to check in with the other people in this room. And I want to start with Caleb. Caleb, Cardano, is that one of the projects that you're invested in, or is that one you're looking to get invested in?
Yeah, I'm actually invested heavily in Cardano. I also have a trade going on right now. You know what I really like about it, what I'm looking at my chart on the daily, where we just last touched, we've touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times before that in the past year. So like for me, that's a huge level of support right there.
Yeah.
Also, if you zoom out, I mean, back towards where this market really started rallying back in February, we built a upper line of support, and we just touched that again. So like, again, I think this is the bottom. I'm going to put more money into a trade because it's going to go up. Plus, I mean, the fact that Cardano, their team is just so great. Like the founders and the people working on the projects, so credible.
Yes.
And this project is just, it's a great project that's going to go up no matter what, because of all the work that they're putting in day in and day out.
What's super cool fact about that is actually we're in contact with the team of Cardano with, I think, an assistant of Charles Hoskinson who potentially might be able to be on this show in the very near future. So that's exciting to look at. Caleb, I have a question about that trade you just said, because you said you want to do a little bit more. Yeah. Is that a trade that you're looking to do on a short time frame, or are you talking more of a long-term trade, or is that going to your HODL portfolio? What kind of investment are you making?
Yeah, so this is going into my swing trading account. Right now, I'm trying to master the whole idea of swing trading.
Yeah.
Just learning from Kelly and whatnot, because Kelly, that man is a genius. He knows so much about it. But he's been teaching me to start with swing trading more so. So I've been really watching the weekly and daily chart for the most part. And everything on the daily chart is saying get into a trade. Like the MACD is about to cross.
Yeah.
We're low on the RSI. The MA on the RSI just crossed.
Yeah.
Everything looks great on the daily. The weekly chart, I'm still waiting for more confirmation, but I'm going to add more to my trade that I put in back when it was at 120.
Yeah.
Because it just went close to $1.
Yeah.
And we have so much support right there that I'm just looking. I just know it's going to go up from there. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm about to come to you, but I want to just let everyone know in chat, in case you're wondering, already this morning we've looked at the market. We talked about BNB, Solana, Cardano. We're about to jump into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we'll go cover Link, XRP, Polkadot, and hopefully we have time for AVAX, and the other one was Luna. Again, we'll see where our time is when we get there, but just so you know, hang tight. We will be getting to those. Smay, I want to hear your thoughts on Cardano, because this year you've been, and I think it's really good because you're really sorting out your options, but you've been at times very bullish on Cardano. You've been times bearish on Cardano. Where are you standing at right now with your thoughts about ADA? That's a lot of fillers right there.
Sorry, no, I switched to the wrong camera and I was being a little silly. But
nice.
So ultimately, I'm pretty bullish, guys. I'm pretty bullish on Cardano. I definitely been buying a ton at this level. I think actually I'm pretty sure Cardano is my second biggest holding other than Bitcoin right now, and that's just because I'm so confident that it's gonna go right back to its all-time high and beyond. And guys, it's just January. You know what I mean? I love to just like look back in last year and think of like because I was actually this morning I was watching a bunch of our old streams and stuff and looking at the prices that stuff was at, and it's like last year this time Cardano was like 30 cents basically, right? So like guys, there is so much room for amazing price action and growth that I'm like at this point this is literally like everyone complains, right? Everyone complains and they're like, oh man, it's at $3. I wish I would have bought in at $1. Well, here's your opportunity. You know what I mean?
We were just there. We were
literally
6 cents above.
Nothing has happened. It's not like XRP with the lawsuit or anything. There's nothing fundamentally that's like, this project's a dead project. So like, this is your opportunity as it's down, as people are bored and not really interested in it, to while they're missing out, filling your bags and getting ready to get on that rocket ship when it goes heads back. Up. But I will say, you're right. I have been pretty flip-floppy in the past about Cardano.
Which I think is good. When people complain about people flip-flopping, I don't like that. I think an intelligent person should constantly be in a state of reasoning and trying to rationalize what is actually happening there. So I actually see when you flip-flop, unless there's a terrible reason to flip-flop, Smay, I've listened to you. I've thought every single time you flip-flop, while I don't always agree, they have their rational reasons for why you go a little bearish or you flip back bullish.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, like, it's one of those things that, like, what you want to avoid when you're getting into a project, in my opinion, is becoming too much of a fan, right? In terms of like when you start to attach your identity to a project and you're like, this is like I'm ride or die, and you're not ready to just look at it very objectively to be able to get out if you need to. That's where you start getting in really dangerous territories, and that's what, if you start kind of getting into this tribalism mentality versus my coin versus your coin, all this stuff. You really have to, especially when you're coming at investing, you have to realize that that's all it is. You're not getting you're not getting a little prize or parade or cookie for being the guy who really loves Cardano. Yeah. But if you're the guy who's really invested in Cardano, that could be great, So ultimately, that my issue was when I feel like people were getting way too, worshipy of it and all this stuff. It's like, hey, well, keep in mind if you're going to over leverage and you're going to invest way too much into it and more than you are affording to lose, you're going to set yourself up for failure. Yeah. Don't put your entire portfolio into Cardano. And make sure that you're diversified and you're being wise about your investment. So ultimately, that's why I'm like, I've always been a little hesitant, but it's like, I think in this case right now, you are not going to regret buying Cardano. So,
yeah, I want to hear Taylor and just saying I want to hear at least if we have them 2 super chats to kind of answer questions specifically if they're going to talk about something we just talked about or moving forward into Bitcoin. For anyone who just joined, Jebb is out today for his monthly planning meeting, but right on schedule. It seems like every second Wednesday of the month, this is something we need to keep an eye on because that's when he's out. It seems like Bitcoin and other altcoins make some massive move. So if you're wondering where Jebb is, that is where he is. He'll be back tomorrow, but stay for the show. It's a great show. Go back and watch some stuff. I think there were some phenomenal TA notes given earlier, and we're going to be moving forward with even better ones. Taylor, any good super chats we can answer quickly?
Yeah, I just want to say first, Leon the Dutch, made it and say your name, but we know you and we love you. He just wanted to chat.
A good shout out, yeah.
Crypto Set Guy, which is also Jeffrey. Man, T-Stream didn't even give us a bye, Felicia, before he left. I think he said bye to us before he left. But here's one. Crypto Alchemist. What's your TA looking like on AVAX? You guys and the rest of the night, it's got me locked in. Is it something that could match prices like Uniswap?
I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. AVAX, because of what it's doing, it's not on TradingView. So just in case you guys are wondering, we use TradingView to do our technical analysis. Kelly sent me a text. And I'm going to read you guys the text and kind of answer the question of why we're not going to be able to do it. He said, someone just asked for TA on ADAX. Just FYI, if you try to do it on TA, it's not on TradingView. You'd have to reopen emarkets.com, go trading, go ADAX, USDT, and then go some pseudo TA there. Here's the thing. The reason why we're not going to do it is because I don't want to disrupt the flow of this stream to do that. It is something, just so you guys know, because our team is so bullish. Smay just bought some yesterday. Of course, you guys heard Jebb invested, I think, a couple weeks ago. Kelly's really big on it. T-Shroom was really big on it. We will be talking about that here in the future, just not on today's stream. And I really do apologize because I wish I could, but I want to keep us flowing and going and working on the other things that everyone wants to hear. Anything else before we jump into Bitcoin?
Yeah, there is no, it's not a super chat, but I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty cool. Travel Rebel asked, Tim, do you think this recent dip was the spring or phase of Wyckoff ACC?
Yeah.
Do you believe we will face further sideways movement in the range between 40 and 50K?
It's a great question. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and save my answer as we go through the technical notes on Bitcoin. So with that being said, we're going to jump on to my chart and Bitcoin. The first thing I want to look at is you guys going to see this line right here. I'm on the 3-daily chart. And so you guys are going to see our closed candles here back on the 21st of July area. And then, of course, within the last couple of days. This is a significant line. I actually posted this on Twitter, and I'm going to go to one of my Twitter pictures right here. I posted this yesterday. You guys can follow me at Tims_TA. This line, so we're going to bounce back and forth. This same line, if you use an extended line means my 2 points, instead of just being the lines between them, it'll extend everything in the past, everything in the future. So if you use an extended line on those 2 points, look at what we have when we go back and look at technical analysis. This is what we just saw. If you go back in the history, this line drawn only using these 2 points has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we used it as resistance. We then flipped it. 1, 2 times we used as support. In that time, if you zoom in, I can't zoom in on it right now, but you'll see we used it, we bounced right back up and then dropped back in. So now we came back down, we resisted, but then came back, broke through it. Right here, 9, we bounced, played around it, broke back through. Then we used it as resistance again, 10, 11, broke through. And now we've used it twice for support. 2 points I want to make here and things that you need to keep in mind. You off my screen for just a second, Smeg. When you see a line being used so significantly, you need to pay attention to it. This line is not saying that we absolutely have to bounce off of it and go to the upside. It's not saying that that means the rest of this price movement is going to be bullish. What it is saying is that price action of 39.6 or 40,000 right in that region was extremely, extremely important in the moment that it hit it. If we had hit 39.6 earlier, it would not have had as much significance. But the time we specifically hit it had significance. Are we going to use that line now for support? Are we going to play with it and then break through and go to the downside? I don't have the answer necessarily to that, but it's something I'm keeping my eye on, and I believe that every other trader and investor should as well. So let's go ahead and go back to my chart, and we're going to analyze some other things that we're seeing on Bitcoin. Let's see here. I'm going to play with my Coinbase. I love using Coinbase. One reason why is because I on Coinbase Pro, that's where I do my trading. But I also just like it because it seems like one of the places that a lot of people are investing, taking out, and moving. So it gives me some really good metrics. Those of you who don't know, if you use a BLX chart, it's going to be a little different. You can only use BLX. I'm going to delete all this stuff too. You can only use BLX on the daily. It only tells us daily and up, and it tells us where days or weeks or wherever we are close. So that's actually on the daily chart right there. It only tells us where things close. A lot of the information when I'm looking at volume and I'm looking at other metrics is pretty darn stinking close to Coinbase. So that's one reason I like using Coinbase's chart. I use a lot of them. You guys, I don't know if they can even see. I use Coinbase sometimes. I use Bitstamp. I use Binance. Let's see here. I think I also use Bitfinex, but overwhelmingly, I love using my Coinbase chart to do it. Again, makes sense for me with how I trade, but also, again, is closest to kind of representing what the entire market is doing. So you guys can see, obviously, I don't even really need to be the one to break this news to you. If I am, thank you for joining in with us and trusting us. But most of you who are not living under a rock have seen the rally as high as $44,000 this morning. This is phenomenal. Goes right along. We've said it several times now. It seems like every time that Jebb leaves to go to his business meeting, Bitcoin decides it's time to come out and play. We'll never know, based off of yesterday, that little disagreement that Jebb and I had, which is, it's funny. Jebb and I agree on most things. The more and more I've learned is when we've started to sometimes say, hey, I see that differently, which is phenomenal. If Jebb surrounded himself with people who just agreed with every single word that he ever said, he would not grow and learn. So I want to start that by saying, anyone in chat, whether you are bullish on Bitcoin, whether you're bearish, whether you think we're rallying to 200,000 or 100,000 or 500,000 within this next bull cycle, or if we're dropping down to 20,000, just know, don't surround yourself with people who just agree with every single word you ever say. Find people that challenge you, that push you, that make you stretch your line of thinking and open up the possibility of what could be be happening next. But for those of you who don't know, we had a little kind of debate on what would happen if the price went down to 37.8. Jebb was calling that potentially, and this was his caveat, unless we rallied to 43,000 by the end of yesterday, which we did, that we would go down and hit our bottom around 37.8. My argument was, no, I believe that right now 39.6 was a strong level of support, and if we broke that level of support and went down as far as 37.8, that would not be the bottom. We would continue to go down to 32 or 30, but we'll see what happens. There's no guarantee we never make it back down there within the next couple of days, but at least right now, it doesn't look like that's a large card to play, so we'll never know which one of us is going to be right there. But I do look forward to the future as Jebb and I continue to look at the markets and express them, to continue to see debates happen, which, again, are extremely valuable to not only our brains, but yours as well. So let's look a little bit more specifically what's happening here. And usually we look at a big angle and we kind of zoom in. Today I actually want to kind of start small and I want to zoom out. So using the hourly chart, again, I don't think there's really much of a reason to go much smaller than that for right now. If you're in an extremely leveraged swing trade, which again, we caution every single person, be very cautious with with leverage trading. Please don't do it if you are new to crypto. Have lots of experience trading on things like Coinbase Pro where you only do 1-to-1, and be very successful before you go that way. Learn about stop losses and everything else so that you do not get wrecked by getting liquidated. But that's the only reason I would say go down to using some smaller ones. For right now, if you're just entering some positions to trade within a couple of weeks or even investing, going down the hourly chart sometimes is even a little too small. But we are rallying up currently. Something I want to keep our eyes on right here. There's going to be a couple different lines I want to draw. The first one, let's draw a support line. And that's going to be, I want to use the candle bodies for it. And you're going to find, I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit so we have a little bit better picture. We're kind of bouncing on an ascending level of support. I'm going to turn that, well, I'll leave it red for right now just so I don't mess that up too bad. But there's a ascending level of support that we are well above right now. The other thing would be, we're going to have a couple different levels of resistance we need to draw. But the first one is I want to start right here that looks like we are in a trading channel, a rising trading channel. Why do I say that? Because these two lines are, in fact, parallel. They're moving the same angle. As you guys can see, starting here, we rallied to the top, stayed on the top, kind of came down in the middle, came down, touched, went back up, came down, touched, went back up. A lot of these movements, as you see, this one slightly went down, this one went sideways. What's going to happen with this action? I do think potentially that Bitcoin might, this is the might, not a guarantee, might need to move sideways one more time, but we also could break. This is kind of getting a point where, is this where we break through this trading channel's level of resistance? I don't know, but keep your eyes on this. This is something, we see these two candle bodies right here, meaning the last 2 hours have started a sideways movement. What's going to happen there? If I look at my oscillators on the hourly chart, we're going to see right now, obviously within the last couple of rallies, the last couple of price actions, we don't have any bearish RSI divergence necessarily, but we are sitting in a spot where we are above the 70. We've been here before, if you scroll back in history, but usually around this time is when the RSI seems to drop down. Let's look at that price action even the last time. You guys are going to see this is actually right near the top of this was right there during the accumulation phase where we were questioning, are we going to rally through? Are we going to break through? We ended up moving sideways, coming back down. We could go even more into back analysis, but just so you guys know, on the RSI being above 70, you're starting to kind of flirt with that thought of being a little bit overbought. This is only the hourly chart. We're going to move up. So before everyone says, oh, is Tim saying that we've reached the top and we're going to go back down? That's not necessarily true. It just means within the next couple of hours, we possibly have gotten a little close to the top. I'm going to go ahead and delete these lines right here because I want to clean it up. But what we're seeing right here, not really seeing any bearish RSI divergence, not really seeing any bullish RSI divergence on the hourly chart. So this isn't something I'm going to use heavily to say we absolutely are going to see a reversal based off of that information. Let's go to our Bollinger Bands and TD sequential and kind of get an answer there. You're going to see kind of a similar dynamic of thought. We're extended heavily on the Bollinger Bands. We're overextended on them, meaning we're above them and kind of coming back down to earth. Do we hang tight there for a little while? That's a great question. Our TD sequential says we only have a green 7. Which again, as we discussed earlier, we're looking for a 9. When we see a 9 flash, that's when we need to be a little bit worried that there might be a correction. But even 7s and 8s, you're starting to say, all right, are we getting close to where the top of this it might be? Again, I want to re-preface, this is the hourly chart. Hourly charts can be completely played out and insignificant within 24 hours. But within the next couple of hours, this is significant. Do we continue to rally? Are we starting to see a reversal? Do we come back down maybe as far as back to 43 in that region and bounce off of our 20 hourly SMA? This is something I want to keep an eye on. Let's go ahead and move up and go to our 4-hourly chart, making a pretty significant bounce there. The first thing I'm going to notice here on the 4-hourly chart, let's go to the oscillators, is kind of a similar dynamic that I don't necessarily see overwhelmingly bearish or bullish RSI divergence. If I zoom out just a little bit, we are going to see some right here. What I want to see, and I did not look at this earlier, so you guys are kind of watching this with me, and I'm thinking out loud. Are we going to say that played out already by itself? This is a good question. If we played out this already, or if we need to use this point in significance, let's go ahead and say I'm going to lean on the side of caution, and I'm going to use this point. It does look like potentially we could be setting up some bearish RSI divergence, and the reason why we say that is because our tops, while we have the price descending, we have the RSI rising. That is bearish RSI divergence. The only problem with that is, well, what happens if we start exploding here within the next couple of hours? Do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. But if this price rallies up to the top here and outperforms this point, that will cancel out our bearish RSI divergence. So this is another thing. At the moment, we're lining up bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hourly chart, but this is something we could play out easily and break and not have to worry about. Let's see what we see on the Bollinger Bands and the TD sequential. Kind of a similar story in the terms of Bollinger Bands. We're overextended. We're well above them. This is something that's most of the time screams you can only be there for a little while before you come back down. So I do expect, whether we are able to rally this high or not, that we're going to see a correction soon. We're not going to make a straight shot all the way back up to 50,000. But those of you who are experienced, I don't think any of you expected that as well. Healthy corrections and retracements are very, very important and helpful along rallies. TD sequential wise, we're not really that concerned. We just saw a green one. So this is kind of saying, the TD is saying, hey guys, you can do what you want to do. There's nothing screaming that we have to reverse right here. So that's a good sign right there. But let's now go out to the daily chart where things get a little more interesting, and we'll look at a couple extra details. So on the daily chart, let's start with our RSI. We are seeing here, let's see, I'm going to go a little bit bigger so I can see, and so you guys can see it a little bit more clearly. We are seeing, well, we're going to see that when we go a little farther on the daily, on the 3 daily, but we're seeing some bullish RSI divergence forming on our daily chart. This isn't crazy, but what we have here is pretty much a flat level of RSI where you can see a very clear descending price action. I'm not going to draw it up here, and I'm not going to make a massive point to say this is what's going to make or break Bitcoin. It's something to be aware of, that on a slight level, we have some bullish RSI divergence forming right there. Our MACD is, though, saying, hey guys, we are headed towards a bullish cross. We are probably, if we don't do it today, and again, that's going to have to do a lot with that 1 hour and 4 hourly price action, are we going to be able to be explosive and break through, in which case we'll see that bullish cross today, or are we delay for today? And that's completely okay. That's completely normal. Delay for today, move sideways, maybe move down a little bit, maybe go back down to 43,000, and then we make that explosive rally back up to 45. Explosive is a strong term there, but you know what I mean. So as far as that saying, we are seeing some bullish movement there. We're going to see, I'll go ahead and do it right now. If I move out to the 3 daily chart, which is important. Oh yeah, massive bullish RSI divergence. I'll go ahead and draw it for you just in case you don't see it with your eyes right here. Ascending price action, boom. Descending RSI, boom. This is bullish RSI divergence. Guys, this is one of the reasons why, if you pair this with all the on-chain metrics that have been bullish, if you pair this with the news breaking of things like we have whales out here buying $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, we have these investment gurus, these guys who their job is literally to invest in wealth, taking 50% of their net worth in Bitcoin. These are all reasons to combine that we're looking at a bullish bullish picture moving forward. The caveat and the metric I want to give to the bears, it's not over. There's no guarantee that had to be the bottom. We think it's the bottom. A lot of signs point to that being the bottom. But if we just blindly close our eyes to the argument that Bitcoin could continue to fall, then we're setting ourselves up for disaster, because then we'll be hit like a I'm trying to think of hit by a Mack truck, and it's going to surprise us. Being prepared for anything is the way to really be significantly ready to make profits and know when to get out. So let's go back down to the daily chart and discuss something that I do think is important, because a lot of people say this, and this is again, I want to give credit to bearish arguments, and that's why I'm going to reference this, but I'm going to clarify why I don't think this is as significant as it really is being played out to be. And that is that we just saw a death cross on the daily chart. For those of you who don't know what a death cross is, you guys see this orange line right here is our 50 daily EMA. This blue line right here is our 200. When the 50 crosses below the 200, that is what is referred to as a death cross. Really scary name. When we go back above it, that's what's called a golden cross. So you guys can see right here, we had a golden cross. The 50 crossed back up above. That sounds really nice. Golden cross, death cross, strong names. What do they mean and how should we read them? In reality, I don't think you guys should be that concerned about a death cross. If you scroll back into history, we'll talk about this really quickly. Right here, we had a death cross back on the 23rd of June. And guess what? The price continued to go down by about 9%. It happens. I can't go back and show you everything. I would love for you guys to go back and look. But historically, not just in Bitcoin, but in the stock market and other investments as well, the death cross is actually shown to be a very, very inaccurate and inconsistent metric of knowing what's about to happen. If you go in history, you're going to see several times where a death cross is followed by a rally. Like the death cross was at the exact bottom. Sometimes you see it go down by, like in this situation, 9%. Not really that significant before, again, boom, a massive rally. Sometimes there have been times in history that the death cross happens and the stock or the price or whatever it was continues to drop. And I've seen as high as, I think, 80%. But that's not consistent. Just because something has happened one time doesn't mean it has to happen again. It's when something happens over and over and over, and the circumstance and the situation plays out the same way over and over and over, that's when we should start taking heavily into consideration what that means. But like I said, this is a death cross. It is a psychological thing that plays out. So when the average person hears death cross, that's a negative connotation. They're going to be a little bit afraid. So we do have to take that into consideration. However, price action does not necessarily, and technical analysis does not necessarily say that death crosses are really all that bad. That is what I have for Bitcoin. What I would love to do is open it up to chat. And what I'm going to do is let the chat kind of correspond. And then even off that, let Smay, Caleb, Taylor, I want to hear what you guys think as well about what your thoughts on Bitcoin is. And if there's anything I left out and you guys have a question, please ask it. Put it in a super chat, put it in regular chat. And if Taylor sees it, she's going to pull it off. But let's go ahead and answer some chat questions and then we'll move forward.
Absolutely. So the lower time frame says bullish on the crypto beard.
Boom.
I love it.
Love it.
So Gabriel Avila says, great show today, listening while working. Jebb's out there manipulating the price to the upside.
Maybe. Yeah.
Our wonderful Matt C. Just wanted to thank TA Tim, a.k.a. Jebb Jr., for doing a bang-up job today, holding down the chair. Well done, brother. And then our last one is Carlos C. Your thoughts on AMP? It looks like it is doing a run.
AMP. Yeah, I can look at AMP real quickly because we're going to do some other altcoins. Just in case you guys just joined, Jebb is out at a planning meeting. And of course, that's why Bitcoin is doing what it's doing right now. It's actually moving. We talked about Cardano. We talked about Solana. And we talked about, what was the other one we did? BNB. And then moving forward, we will be talking about Ethereum here in a little bit. Talking about Link, talking about AVAX, talking about XRP. And potentially a couple others. But AMP, real quick, USD. Are you on my chart already, Smay? Mm-hmm. All right, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. This is my chart. I'm going to actually lead this one. A lot of times I sometimes clear the chart and redraw it, but I want to lead this for you guys. It's something I think I did this the last time I was on the show, and then Jebb's talked about it since then. AMP almost looks like a heartbeat, like a what is that called? Taylor, you were a nurse. So it was what's the thing when you're reading the heart rate?
Pulse.
No, but a pulse. But okay, it has a. Thank you, Smay. It has a different name. It kind of looks like that. A consistent, really sharp rise. It has it's like letters. Like the name of it is like a letter. I don't know. Let us know.
EKG.
EKG. There we go.
EKG.
I knew it wasn't as simple.
I
as
wasn't actually a nurse. Okay.
You were studying to be a nurse, and you know a lot of things. But what the other thing I've seen is look at this flat level of support that has played out 1, 2, 3, 4 times, kind of giving us. And then we have an upper level as well, so it's almost like a zone. I could draw a zone right here, kind of giving you guys an angle of a box. But this zone has been a flat level of support now if we're on the daily chart ever since July. So we keep rallying up high and then coming back down with a descending level of resistance. What does this make when you have a flat bottom and a descending level of resistance, a descending triangle? What's funny is we break through negatively on this line, but we continue to hold here. We are currently at the bottom side again. We just had a green candle from this last day. That's great for AMP. My question is, are we going to continue this pattern of coming all the way down here and then having a nice rally only to come down again forever? I'm not 100% certain all the fundamentals of AMP. That's not one I've done a lot of studies on. But from a charting perspective, this looks like a project that I would use as a trade. And the truth is, this looks like a great time to enter a trade. But I would never want to add this to my HODL portfolio because I don't have necessarily a lot of hopes about where it's going to go. Again, that could change based off of my research and what I found out about the technology and what the team is doing. But so far, the price action is nothing that I would just be like, oh, this is amazing. I got to be in it right now. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other good things in chat?
Yeah. I was seeing this one chat. It says from Rich Coin, Tim, everyone wants to know about the parachains going live yesterday. Baby.
The parachains going live yesterday. Honestly,
That happened, yes.
I don't know. So I wish I could answer that question for you guys. That's not something that I have the ability to pay heavy attention to. What just happened?
I tried to read up a little bit about it last night, but
Yeah, did you hear anything important there?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have it. I said I'd try to.
Yeah.
I didn't get much reading done. So
Well, before we move back into Ethereum, because that's where we're going to go, unless, real quick, I told you guys I want to do this. Any thoughts you guys have on Bitcoin before we move forward? We're kind of running a little over on time, but...
Yeah, if we're running over, then no.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. We'll come back to it at the end of the show, hear your guys' thoughts. But I do want to let you guys know that today's show is being sponsored by TradingView. The truth is, even though this is a new partnership we have, TradingView has been so helpful for this team since the beginning of this channel. Jebb has been using it. Go back and watch our oldest videos. He's using TradingView. It is phenomenal. And if you don't have it, it's going to be really hard for you to read your technical analysis that you need to read to be able to invest correctly. What's really cool is TradingView has a premium version with so many benefits that I would heavily encourage you to go into invest in. I promise you, if you read it and you learn it and you partner with things like CD2A and learn the technical analysis, it will only be a short matter of time before you make profit, and it was well worth it. A couple of things that the premium package has is 25 different indicators that you can put on a chart. So just in case you guys know, any of you had the free version, I think it's like, what, 4? You can only look at 4 things at a time, just so you know. If you look at this thing right here, right now, I don't use necessarily all 25, but there are times where I have. I always want to know what my volume, VPVR, Bollinger Bands, TD Sequential, SMAs, EMAs, Lux Algo. I also have my oscillators. I have my RSI, I have my MACD. Sometimes I like to pull up hash ribbons. If you don't have premium, you're going to get cut off at a certain point. It will allow you to always have access to all of those. It also, you can have 8 different charts on a screen at a time. Just so you guys know, we don't do that on the channel, on the YouTube, because it would be very confusing. But in our private trading and when we're looking at the markets, a lot of times you're going to see us with multiple screens up at a time in different boxes so we can watch them and compare the price action. It has 400 server-side alerts, unlimited save chart layouts, second-based intervals, alerts that do not expire. That's a nice one. 4 times more data on the charts, meaning 20K bars, and they publishing invite-only indicators. Guys, this is something you do not want to miss. You're going to want to have it. If for nothing else, again, those indicators and the different charts, it is phenomenal. You will appreciate it and make back your money very, very quickly. That being said, though, let's go ahead and move into Ethereum, the second largest coin or the largest altcoin. Actually, I want to come down here and use this chart down here. All right. So let's go ahead and play here for just a little bit. This is one I've been looking at a lot recently, but I'm going to start off by talking about, just reminding people what we were talking about here a little bit ago. There was a moment, there was some time, and go out to the 3 daily chart, where we were very concerned about Ethereum. And here's the reason why. It's because Ethereum kept rallying despite the fact that Bitcoin and other altcoins were falling. We already kind of alluded to this earlier. Cardano has fallen as far as 66% since hitting its all-time high. Bitcoin is sitting a little bit closer to the 40% zone. But Ethereum, when we were discussing this, was just a little bit below all-time high. I think we're kind of in this region right around here, sitting, let's see what that price action would be. Only only about 17, 16% down from its all-time high. We were looking at that and saying, hey, look, we're starting to form bullish RSI divergence on Bitcoin. We're starting to form bullish RSI divergence on these other charts. We're starting to get into the phase of being oversold on all of these projects except for Ethereum. Why is Ethereum still sitting so high? And the people who were in it loved it. Everyone loves when they look at their portfolio of US dollars compared to crypto and they see, oh man, Ethereum is the best one for me based off of what I've invested in it. If I invested down here at the bottom back in September, most of my money's in Ethereum. That's not always the greatest thing. As we talked about earlier this show, and we talk about frequently, when you're in a rally, don't make the mistake of being concerned every time you see a retracement or a fall in the price action. That is a healthy part of a bullish market or a bull market. What we did not see with Ethereum was a healthy retracement. That has changed. Ethereum has gone ahead and had its healthy retracement. It actually ended up outperforming Bitcoin and Cardano's drops at certain points, and that has set it up to what it is today. And the first thing on this 3-daily chart you're going to see is massive bullish RSI divergence. Price action goes up, RSI goes down. This is phenomenal. Why? Because Ethereum is in an oversold spot. When it is oversold, it is a great buy. Not trying to tell you what to do with your money, but I'm telling you, if you are somebody who loves Ethereum, whether the price goes down a little bit more or not, we know it's a good buy right now. And when we look back in the future, looking back at the past, whether you got in on Ethereum right now at 3,300, whether you got down here at the exact bottom at 29, or let's just say, let's play devil's advocate and say we actually end up curtailing down here, coming down lower, somewhere around 27. We go and touch the same level at the bottom with Ethereum over here, or go even lower at the end of the day when Ethereum is sitting closer to 15,000, maybe even 20,000 years from now. You're not going to necessarily be too concerned with, well, did I get in at 33 or 3,000 or 27? That is such a small metric of difference compared to the massive difference you're going to see in the years. What we're telling you is right now, this is a great buy spot. What you do with that information is completely up to you. But let's go and zoom in a little bit closer and look at some daily chart stuff. Look at the RSI, what's happening there. Look at the MACD. Obviously, the MACD, you guys can see, is doing similarly to what Bitcoin is. I'm going to kind of give you guys a spoiler alert. A lot of the market, except for one we're going to talk about today, is kind of showing us this action of low MACD, low RSI that's reversing and heading back to the upside. All of that is screaming what I just kind of echoed. We have been oversold here for a minute. It's time to get closer to being equal and then starting to shoot to the spot where we might say, hey, we're a little bit overbought. Time to take some profit because we're being preparing for a retracement. But bullish stuff is happening here. We already talked about the bullish RSI divergence. Let's see if we see any here on the daily chart. Not necessarily, there is the same metric. I'm not going to, redo it. It's the same thing we saw on the 3-daily chart. But bullish RSI divergence right here. Let's look at our Bollinger Bands and TD sequential. Go and take our oscillators down. We have a 6 red. Oh, no, actually, sorry. We've come up to a green too. So TD sequential is pretty much saying, hey, guys, don't worry about us anymore. We're healthy. We came to the bottom of the Bollinger Bands, only had a red 6, but we went ahead and reversed and came back to the upside. Here's what we're looking at now, guys. We're looking at this 20-daily SMA that we're definitely needing to pay attention to. Let me take down these TD sequentials and draw our levels of resistance, similar to what we had with Bitcoin and everything else. Let's go right here. We have this descending level of resistance to keep an eye on. And the truth is that's the only one because you see the same touches right in this region right here. I guess theoretically speaking, what I could do is do the actual closings and say we could be dealing with a level which is right alongside that 20 daily SMA. So it's kind of almost the same thing, but I'll go ahead and leave the line there. This is what we're looking for right now. This is what we're looking to say, hey, does Ethereum have a lot of resistance ahead of it? We can go down and look at the smaller time frames and probably create some flat levels of resistance, especially based off all this. This is a nice one candle. If I were to go over here to the hourly chart, you're going to see that break up into, let me get the Bollinger Bands down because not important right now. You're going to see a lot of stuff right here. So I would say if I was going to blow a flat level of resistance, let's go ahead and put this line right here where we did reverse after the 6th of January, but then we topped out before this nice little crash. That's going to put us right there at 3460. Honestly, between the line that we're at right now where there's a little bit of action being played out right there and that level, there's not a whole heck of a lot of resistance between us and that line. What I haven't done for any other project, but I want to look at because I'm curious, is our VPVR kind of echoing what we're at right now. We're kind of sitting right here at a very small peak. It's more like a hill. I would call this almost like a mountain peak, and I would call that a mountain peak, and that a mountain peak. These are kind of like little hills, but we're kind of sitting at the top of this little hill. It's really easy if we break through this with confidence to roll in this valley, come back up right to that flat level support where it's nice. If we can break through that, there's just not a lot of resistance until maybe right here on 36.5. Even that's not that much. I would say if we can break through 34.50, it's really going to be 30. Let's call it right here, 37 to 37.5. So it's 3,700 or 3,750 is where it's like, all right, now we're starting to get to the camp of we're really gonna need a lot of bulls and a lot of buyers to come in to help push us over that. If I backed it up a little more, we'll probably see a little more price action, but that's been significant. Obviously, the big dog that we got to get over is right there at 4,000. That's what we have for Ethereum. Is there any questions in chat or any observations that you, Smay, or Caleb, or Taylor have to add to Ethereum?
I'm just looking at on the daily chart right now. We broke below out of the Bollinger Bands. I believe the last time we did that, when we did that, right after we went to an all-time high.
Yeah. Well, so to be fair, what you're looking at is a massive drop, and then we broke too, because we broke down here and down here and down here. But what he's referring to is right here, this region of late September, when we opened up our volatility. We had a nice little drop. We touched, and then we went all the way to our new all-time high. So yeah, absolutely. I do think that there are similarities. That's what I love about right now. We look at how small and how skinny the Bollinger Bands are right here. But this nice drop, that's the one thing you can say about significant drops or significant rises, is it opens up the volatility. Sometimes that's bad, but in this case, dropping down, opening up the volatility means there's an explosive amount for it to go to the upside. This is another thing that just so you guys see. I didn't talk about this with Bitcoin or anything else, but when I was doing some trading the other day and looking at projects to get invested in, because I think I put on Twitter, I was like, guys, it's a great day to buy crypto. When I was looking at almost everything was sitting down here at the bottom of Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart. When you're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart, it's a great time to buy. And that's exactly where Ethereum was. That's where a lot of other projects were as well. Yeah. I almost said T-Shroom. Gosh, I miss him already. Smay, do you have any thoughts whatsoever?
I wish I had more Ethereum. That is my thought. No, guys, honestly, like Ethereum is there's a reason why it's number 2. It's such a good project, and I think this is an opportunity to get sub 4,000 Ethereum right now. So like, I'm telling you this, just like with ADA, this year's going to be a really bullish year for Ethereum. And so I just think right now is a great time to start, continue to fill your bags with Ethereum. I'm definitely going to do that. But yeah, that's about pretty simple, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. I saw something on social media yesterday. Somebody said that Ethereum is in the same place at 4,000 as Bitcoin was when it was at 4,000, and just basically emphasizing like, if you go back to when Bitcoin was at 4,000, would you buy in? Absolutely. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Great time to buy. Remember, we're in this for the long game. So
it's because like the more I'm like starting to get to this point, and I think every person because at this point I've been in crypto for about a year, and everybody I feel like gets to this point where they start to like reflect back to like, what would have happened if I got into crypto sooner? What would have my strategy been? It's like, I could very easily now at 21 be like a multi-millionaire if I just could go back and choreograph all those things. Now it's like, oh, I could have done it. It would have been nice if I did that. But it's like, no, guys, listen, there's still so much opportunity. Yeah, we're still so early that you can take that strategy that you said, oh, I could have applied this to young me and made so much more money. You can start thinking like that now and start investing in these projects that, because imagine, it's funny because I saw this video actually, I think somebody posted on Twitter of this guy talking about Bitcoin, like he had bought in at like $50 and it was like $100 now. He's like, oh, or no, sorry, other way around. He bought in at like $100 and now it's $50. It went down. And he was like, oh man, I bought the top. This is so stupid. I'm so stupid,
Yeah.
That guy's, if he would have held, he'd probably be really, really happy right now.
There's a lot of stories of if I had just held,
Yeah.
If I had just held,
Yeah.
well, how about you hold?
Yeah.
Is a good piece of advice.
Everyone thinks it's gonna change now. Like everyone thinks now's the time where you've missed out, but no, you really haven't. And that's the thing with even with ADA back at $1, buy it. You know what I mean? You thought you missed it out. No, you didn't. Buy it at $1. Ethereum, you didn't think it was gonna be under 4,000 again. It is. Now buy it. You know what I mean? Like this is just a great opportunity to start filling your bags and being strategic about where you're buying and setting yourself up for a good future. So
let's do Taylor. Do we have any super chats? A couple of them. I want to do a speed round. The truth is, the show might run long today because I do want to do TA on Link, XRP, and do a quick look at DOT and AVAX as well. But any good super chats that we can answer right now?
So the crypto couple, they've been members for 3
awesome.
months. Yes, we love you guys. It says, great to see the channel thrive even when Jebb's away. We appreciate every one of you. Great TA and discussion today. TA, Tim, and team, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mark Joe 159, short-term AVAX or ADA?
Short-term AVAX or ADA. We're actually about to do AVAX. Oh goodness. How short is short term? I wish you were like literally standing right here. I could ask you that, and then let's assume next couple of days, probably close to even. When we're talking about the next couple of weeks, which I would still put in the short term, Cardano, and then of course long term. As great as I think AVAX is, I just think what Cardano is building and what it's working on is going to be something super special. Charles Hoskinson and that whole team they're different. They're built different. Their mindset is different. Their desire is different. Their passion is different. Their mission is different, and that's why I love them. But nothing against AVAX. I do think AVAX is still going to be good. It's just the question was which one's better. So.
Well, I was gonna say that even like that's why I'm so bullish on ADAX, ADAX, is because like Cardano is so promising, and as the Cardano blockchain develops even more, the ADAX, that's when you got to start looking, and that's where I'm looking right now, is trying to find those projects being built on Cardano. Now, because all these projects you have, Polygon, all these projects that are built on Ethereum. But now that as Cardano's catching up to Ethereum and building that functionality, now it's time that you can get really early into some projects that are going to be built on Cardano. So that's where my eyes are at right now.
All right. Any other questions?
So Corey, I believe he's part of the crypto couple. Tim, question for the panel. With the bull cycle clearly lengthening, does this mean that the bear cycle is shortening or lengthening as well?
Well, and so this is a question I think I'm gonna get my take because Jebb usually gives his take on this stuff. I have a big question about what the future of bull and bear markets are even gonna look like. For one thing, like I said, you could make the argument that Cardano just went through a bear market. It dropped 60%. There's some bear markets gone at 80%, but 60% is pretty significant. You can make the argument that what Bitcoin did back in May and June was a bear market. It went down by over 50. Did it get quite to 60, Smay?
Wait, say that.
I can look at it right now. You don't have to go to my chart even. I can just answer the question. Bitcoin dropped a total in that time frame of about 55%, hitting close to 60. I think that an argument could be made, was that a mini bear market? Was what Cardano just went through a mini bear market? I think 40% is a little, I don't think 40% is enough to say that it was a bear market. And the reason why is because when you look at history, if you're looking at things, you're looking at these massive rallies, a lot of times you're going to find small little 40% retracements that happen within them, especially on Bitcoin. But I think our definition of what a bear and a bull market is going to start to evolve and start to change. I don't think we're going to see a guaranteed year and a half long bear market. I don't think we're going to see a guaranteed year and a half long bull market. I think there's going to be times where we see almost a year, if not a year and a half. But I think there's going to be several different seasons where it's like, no, it's going to be a couple months. It's going to be a little bit, especially with the adoption on Bitcoin. I do also expect the volatility of Bitcoin is going to start decreasing. Nowhere near the level of gold, but I think it's going to start decreasing. I think the altcoins are going to stay very, very volatile. But as Ethereum and Cardano and DOT and all these ones mature and get better, I think they're volatility will start to decrease to where it's like, no, like bear markets are not going to be as crushing. And so that's the question: are we going to start measuring them by length of time or length of percentage drop? And so that wasn't an answer to the question, but in the same way, I hope that kind of unlocks people's brains to start thinking about, man, do we need to start setting ourselves up to where we just expect, all right, it's going to be another rough 18 months, but maybe it's just going to be a rough like 2 or 3 months. Maybe it's going to be a rough 5 months. Maybe it's going to be a rough couple of days where we drop within a couple of days something massive. I don't, that's probably not very likely. So as I say it, I disagree with the statement, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm getting at.
Well, I mean, I think that's a very interesting take because ultimately, I think you're really onto something with the fact of like, crypto is just so driven by hype, and that's just the world we live in now. There's so many new investors, and more so than like the stock market. There's so many people who have never invested before in their lives that are now trying to trade crypto, which means there's going to be a lot of people who don't understand certain ebbs and flows of markets, and they get scared out of it or they get bored of it or so on. And there's a lot of emotional traders in crypto, which is why I think we're going to see a lot more of these, whales capitalizing on hype and people's sentiment, all this stuff, which is, that's why, are we going to see traditional bull and bear markets? I don't know. I don't think people are operating like that anymore. I think we're going to see these huge hype trends and then it's going to become boring and fun. And then, and I think we're just going to constantly live in this very volatile, crazy market. I don't think we're going to really see very much traditional markets anymore. I think that's why we joke about turtle market and stuff like that, because ultimately there's going to be so many different types of price movements because of how crazy cryptocurrency is moving and compared to traditional markets.
Yep, I agree. Any other super chats we got here before we jump into some more TA on some altcoins?
Yes. So the Bitcoinologist, he's a member, and he's been for 3 months Jebb by night, so thank you very much. Show is still great with Tim. Fantastic team. Thanks for all you do. We appreciate you, Bitcoinologist.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And then from 179 Kevin, Tim, could you please look at Sheeb?
Not today. I'm sorry. I'm going to struggle to get through the ones that I want to get through already and still close out around the time we close out again. I actually expect us to probably not be closing until closer to 11, which is nice, extended stream. But let's go ahead and jump on into those coins. What I'm going to do is I originally was thinking I was going to do Link and XRP first. But what I'm going to do, because I do want to look at them briefly, is give you a very quick look at DOT and AVAX before we move over to Link and XRP, because there's something different about XRP and Link that you're not going to see on the other ones in the same way. So the first thing that I want you guys to see here, and I'm going to go out to the daily chart, is on DOT. We are in a falling wedge on DOT, and we're kind of getting close to the peak. What this means is, could this be the time? Could this be when we break through a falling wedge? Those of you who might not know, falling wedges not only traditionally break to the upside, they also start their probabilities of breaking that descending level of resistance as you get closer to the 70% mark of what's happening. As you guys can see, we started this trend back here, and I would say the 31st of August. And if we were to go all the way to the peak, are you on my chart?
No, we're back. What the heck just happened? It went black.
It wouldn't be a good show without some technical difficulties.
All right, keep it going. Keep it going.
If we were to play this,
it's gone.
It's gone again.
What the heck's happening?
I'm in. It's plugged in. We good. Still giving me problems?
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun.
Let me. Here, I'm gonna go to full screen. Why don't you just keep talking?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking, and you guys are just gonna have. If you guys are able to see your technical charts, you're gonna play it with me. But I'm gonna do my best to kind of give you a play-by-play action of this. If we were to go all the way to where the support and resistance touched, that would put us at the 13th of February. We are more than 70% of the way through. So I'm starting to watch and look for, while Polkadot has been trending to the downside in a falling wedge, it's getting close to the spot where we should be breaking bullish. So will we do it right now as we approach this level of resistance? And again, the price to be watching is around $27, $28. Will we break through that with confidence, or will we reject and come back down? I'm kind of in the camp of thinking that we're going to go and break through it now because so much of the rest of the market is looking like it's moving bullish. If I'm looking at the RSI, we are seeing bullish, hidden bullish RSI divergence, or that's actually normal RSI divergence. We're seeing bullish RSI divergence forming. The MACD on the daily chart is crossing bullish here, probably either today or tomorrow. So let's continue to wait to see, but DOT is looking great, but there's a chance it could reject and come back down. AVAX is similar but different. Instead of being in a falling wedge, we're actually in a symmetrical triangle pattern. Symmetrical triangle patterns have, you have a couple other things you got to look at. What was the price action moving into it? In this case, we moved up into a symmetrical triangle pattern. So same thing, we are waiting for about a 70% of the way break mark to make it. This is what, we'll see what happens. We're kind of in the middle of our price points of support and resistance. We came into it on the 3rd of November. If we went all the way to the end, we'd move to the 6th of March, not quite to the 70% mark. So there's a case that potentially we do need to reject with AVAX one more time before coming back down. But just so you know, even if you bought right this very second and you went all the way to the top where the resistance needs to bounce, that would still be close to almost an 18 or 20% increase before we would have a rejection. So AVAX is another one that I'm seeing some bullish movement on. We have bullish RSI divergence forming on it as well. If you use the price action bottoms of the 13th of December, the RSI moved down where the price moved up. So that's bullish RSI divergence. Same thing with the MACD. We are moving up. Again, a lot of bullish factors playing for AVAX. The question is, will we reject on that resistance or will we keep going? At this point, my opinion is most likely we will end up rejecting out that level of resistance. Now let's go ahead and jump into Link and into XRP. We have anything? You want to try it one more time?
Try a different one.
All right, we can try that. See if it's any different.
All right.
Sorry, guys. Again, I'm going to do the best I can to continue to give you play-by-play as, and hopefully it makes sense. At this point, I hope everything I've said has made sense. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. This is where Link is a little different. And just so you guys know, I entered a trade in Link a couple of days ago when the price was actually sitting at about $19. And I ended up taking profit over here around $27, which was great. Here is what's happening, the reason why I ended up taking that. So are we back?
Yeah.
Sweet, 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 sweet. I'm going to leave that line there. All right, real quick, just so I can show them what I was kind of referring to on DOT, which is when everything went south. That's the falling wedge I was talking about, seeing that I think we're going to break through right there. AVAX, we're in a symmetrical triangle. This is what I'm talking about. It looks like we might hit our head resistance right here. Yeah, I was looking at AVAX. And then come back down. A lot of things to be watching right there. But I'm going to go back to Link because that's what we were talking about here a second ago. Link's a little different. Notice right here, Link was rising as every other project was falling. If you look at the same time frame, it seems like almost everything else in crypto was going down, whereas Link was using this time to go up. Not only are we in a symmetrical triangle pattern, which I do think will break bullish when it breaks bullish, and there's a chance it does break it right now because we are getting close to that 70% mark. There's a couple reasons why I don't think it will, and I'll explain. The first thing is this upward movement in the symmetrical triangle in smaller time frame, is a rising wedge. We just about how falling wedges break to the upside, rising wedges break down. Why do I think this one will break down instead of going ahead and breaking through this level of resistance? If I go over here to my oscillators, unlike the rest of the market where we're seeing, oh man, that's the wrong thing. Unlike the rest of the market where we're seeing bullish RSI divergence, over here we're seeing bearish RSI divergence. Look at this descending price action versus a rising price action. It's not a lot of rising, but it's enough that that is bearish RSI divergence. I think that there's a chance that we come all the way back down to $19, which is, again, I told you guys was my original buy spot. There's not a guarantee. There is also, we could use this rising level of support right here and only come back down in the region of around 21 to 22. But Link is one, as great as I love it long term. Like, this is one of the projects on the flip side. If you're asking me short term, bullish or bearish on Link, I'm kind of sitting in the bearish camp. Long term, I am sitting in the bullish camp. I think what Link is doing, the institutional adoption of Link, of what's happening there, I think it has a very, very bright future. It just might need to have a small retracement before we get there. Let's move to XRP, because this is another one that everyone is very, very excited or / unexcited. You either love XRP or you hate it. I have flipped camps. This is a place where I changed my mind. I used to not like XRP. I used to not like the fact that it seemed like it was the banker's coin, and it was, instead of being for the people, it was for the banks. Had a great conversation with Matt Hamilton. You can go back on our channel and find it a long time ago. It was an interview where he explained the purpose of XRP and why it has been given such a bad rap. And in fact, XRP is a project that I very much love and am waiting for the SEC lawsuit to get solved to be invested in. There's a couple things though. We've been watching this symmetrical triangle pattern now for a while. And again, technical analysis is never perfect. Oh, this is actually, I can go back up a long time for that one. But it's never a perfect thing. But usually when a symmetrical triangle pattern is entered in through the upside, we can move up into the symmetrical triangle pattern, we end up breaking to the upside, but there's always that chance we can move to the downside. I had been waiting in anticipation, thinking we were going to make a break up. We also, I think the large majority of us, thought that the SEC lawsuit would be over by now. Rather, it seems like it's going to continue to drag on, and there doesn't really look like there's any end in sight. I don't know if that's why, but we are breaking bearish out of this symmetrical triangle pattern, and I have a couple concerns for XRP, not in terms of its project, which I do think is good. In terms of the price action and charting, there's some problems. The fact that we broke bearish does not mean we're done and we can't move back up. But if I show you guys what we see on the Bollinger Bands, and it's very rare to go much above them, there's not a whole heck of a lot of room to make a massive rally. Like, even if we went back up into the top of the Bollinger Bands on the daily chart, we would only make it back up into the bottom side of this symmetrical triangle pattern. If I move out and I go to the 2-day, still not a great option. I go to the 3-day, still not a great option. We're still, getting a little bit better, but we're not even to the top of that symmetrical triangle pattern. I think when we get to the weekly chart is where we start to see a little bit of hope. So if you're thinking long term out, we're good. I actually somewhat think we're going to potentially ride the bottom of the Bollinger Bands just for a little bit because there's some negative pressure. Don't underestimate the amount of traders who watch things like this. They watch this symmetrical triangle pattern playing out, waiting to see, will it break bullish or will it break bearish? They saw it break bearish, and that kind of makes them say, hey, I'm not really confident about XRP right now, especially with the fact that it has that SEC lawsuit. You take that SEC lawsuit out, guys, I'm expecting explosive movements for XRP. I'm not in the same boat as everybody else that thinks that potentially XRP will just catch back up to where it would have been the whole time. And I think some people say that's going to be like a 9x within a matter of months. I'm not that bullish on XRP. I do think, though, that XRP could 2 to 3x very shortly after the SEC lawsuit is handled and closed and done, and it's not a problem anymore. The question is, when will that ever happen? Let's go look at some oscillator information here. The Bollinger, MACD, is sideways. It's not crossing. It's not doing anything crazy on the weekly. On the daily, let's see here. We are starting to see some bullish movement. So there's some hope there that we have bullish movement to the upside on the MACD. On the RSI, do I see anything screaming anything of any significance? Not really. We don't see bearish RSI divergence there. We do see some bullish RSI divergence. I will give this there. So, could we come back up into the symmetrical triangle pattern? We absolutely could. We will, though, need to see, before we break through this level of resistance, and I don't know why mine's flipped. I usually have red on the top, blue on the bottom. I'll fix that later. Whether we end up breaking, through that or not, we will have to hit a peak, come back down, retrace, and go back up, because right now I do not think there's enough strength, neither on the charts, no technical analysis, nor fundamental analysis, to make us have an explosive rally above that level of resistance. But again, that is for you guys to decide how you want to invest. XRP is not one I'm looking to invest in right this second. It is one I'm looking to invest in the future. That is all the TA that we have. So, we still, the screen's still good and everything. You're still
yes.
All right, well, you can go ahead and take it off my screen. What time do we got here? Not 10:52. This, it's been a great show. We had some technical difficulties. No Jebb. I know a lot of you guys don't always love that, but I want to reiterate what this channel is all about. And some of you might not like this, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we don't love you. That doesn't mean we don't want you to be a part of it. But if you do love this, I want to heavily encourage you to be involved. I talked about this earlier. Jebb says this all the time. He tells the story of when he was talking with his dad, and he had 5,000 subs. And he's talking to his dad. He said, oh my gosh, just look at everything we're doing. Like, we're growing every day. And Jebb's dad looks at him. He says, Jebb, why do you keep saying the word we, son? There's no one else but you. You're doing this alone. And Jebb's response to his dad was, Dad, I can't do this alone. The people that subscribe, the people that watch every single day, they're the reason this channel is growing. And that heartbeat has never changed. He has grown a team. He started with one person. He had an editor, and then he just started, I think he hired like 5 or 6. He had a guy working in marketing. He had a guy helping him, with research. We are now a team of 16 and growing every day. I think that there's some new hires coming within the next couple of months. It is still a we, and that doesn't mean we, the team. That means we, the community. This channel is not about propping up Jebb or propping up Tim or Caleb or Smay or T. Shroom or Kelly or Taylor or anyone. This is about we, the people, you, us together, a community that seeks every single day to grow and advance our pursuit of financial sovereignty. That's really big to us. We want people to be sovereign and do it for themselves. I've told you before, I actually kind of had this like tinge and like, why do I keep seeing these commercials where people tell you, oh, you don't know what you're doing with trading. Go find this company over here. We'll invest for you. Just trust us. Why do we have so many economic problems that we have today is because somewhere along the lines, people stopped doing things for themselves. People stopped worrying about the money themselves. They went and found somebody else to handle their money. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying never have a financial advisor that helps you think through things. I'm not saying don't go to a tax expert that will help make sure you don't get yourself in tax trouble. What I'm saying is you invest your money. You choose when to take profit. You choose when to enter a trade. Don't put that on somebody else because I guarantee you they do not have the same passion about your money that you have about your money. In fact, a lot of times, all they're thinking about when you give them your money is how they can turn your money into their money. When you do it yourself, which is what DeFi and crypto is all about, is bringing power back to the person. That's when you will have power. But I guarantee you it's something that's really hard to do alone, and that's why community is so important. If you are already a part of this community, we thank you so much. If that's something that you want to be a part of, let me tell you a couple different ways you can do it. And I know this sounds like a pitch, but I'm trying to be as genuine as I can to help you guys put yourself in a position for success. The first thing you do is watch every single day. Continue. We're here every Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 10:30, 9:30 to closer to 11. And we're here. Come join and watch every single day. Hit that like button. Those likes really help boost us in the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button. The subscribers really help us in the algorithm. Hit the bell to be, make sure you get alerts every single day. Hit that share button. Share it with all your friends because what we're doing here is changing the way people think about crypto, the way people think about money to make their lives better. That's something that I guarantee you can think of 100 people right now who would benefit from that. So do that. We have a community we have a community page that you can join as a member and join there. We have Discords you can request to be a part of. We have courses you can go and take and interact with other people in technical analysis. And we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline that is going to grow that ability. If that's something you want to do, please consider doing all of those. Another thing you can do is we just created videos and we're going to continue to create videos like this to help educate people who are newer to crypto. We have episode 1 and episode 2 of Why Bitcoin Out. And a lot of the information, if you've been experienced in crypto, it's not going to be groundbreaking. It's not going to be this new like, oh man, I never thought about that before. But how many people do you know who are still struggling to get into Bitcoin or other crypto because they're skeptical? They don't understand the significance. What you can do is go watch those videos, like those videos, because that boosts the algorithm to let more and more and more and more people see it. Just in case you guys know how the algorithm works, when you post a video and your audience, your subscribers loves that video and watches it and shares it, that's what makes the algorithm say, let's go and suggest this to other people. If you share and you're a part of that, you are playing a part in growing this community. The other thing you can do is continue just to interact with us every single day. Comment, email us. Let us know better how we can serve you guys, because one of our core values and one of the things that we always are trying to do is give you guys things that you want and need. And so we need your help. Please let us know what's the best way that Jebb, Tim, Kelly, Caleb, T. Shroom, Smay, how can we help you and how can we further this community of financial sovereignty? If that's something you love, I know that was a long spiel, but please consider doing all of the above on a daily fashion so that we can grow and you can grow and this whole world will be changed through crypto. That's all I have. Is there any closing thoughts? Smay, I know you're waving your hands. I need a breath anyway, so what? I don't know what that hand signal is.
Anyways, I know that this show was a really good show. I mean, this was a great show. Me, you, Tim, Taylor, Caleb. This has been a great show. It's almost like we should do this again,
It's almost like that.
It's almost like maybe next week we'll be doing it again.
Oh, yes. We will be doing it. Do you want to know why we're going to be doing this? Starting Sunday, there is a North America Bitcoin conference down in Miami. Jebb, Zach, Shannon, and Greg will be there. We contemplated myself and Smay going as well, but we said, you know what? The people deserve a daily show. Let's not skip out just because there's a super cool conference. So we'll still be doing the show Monday through Wednesday. There will be no Jebb, but you know where Jebb will be? He'll be in Miami at the North American Bitcoin Conference, and there's still time for you to buy tickets. I think there's a link in the description down below. If you want to meet Jebb in person, he will be there, and he wants to go meet other people there as well, but he will specifically be keeping an eye out for anyone who has recognized him from YouTube. He wants to be able to interact with you guys. Look forward the rest of this year. It's not just that conference. We're going to, what's the other conference called in April? Is that just the Bitcoin conference?
Bitcoin 2022.
We're going to Bitcoin 2022. We're going to probably be going to other conferences. We're going to be trying to keyword trying. There's a lot of different informational things that go into this, but we want to have meetups. We want to up our webinar presence. We want to interact with you guys as much as possible because we love you guys so much. So if you're still wanting to go and meet Jebb, make sure today sign up for the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami.
And you get 20% off if you use our link.
Oh, 20% off for the link.
Yeah,
right?
so 20% off your ticket. You better be there, or be square. Because I'm definitely going to be square because I'm going to be here doing the show. But
good.
You guys should be there or be square.
Yeah. I know we probably didn't answer all the questions. Are there any super chats left that we can speed round?
Yes. Just really quick.
'Kay.
The Bitcoinologist again. Tim, bringing your wife onto the stream was a platinum move. She's a pure gem. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Wow. So
I will take
flattering.
credit for that whole idea, even though it wasn't probably all of my idea. I love it.
And then Crypto
I think that might have been a
Alchemist.
Smay idea though, so credits to Smay.
Crypto Alchemist, he's asking, are B bands based on volume, and isn't the low volume due to not being listed on most exchanges? So wouldn't BBs naturally be significantly narrow?
The Bollinger Bands?
Yes.
So not being, okay, as far as not being listed on exchanges, that's not the problem because the Bollinger Bands have to do with the volatility, and there is a metric of volume. I'm not 100% certain of all the different metrics and numbers that go into building the Bollinger Bands. So that one I'm gonna have to plead the fifth. But I do not think that it's correlated to the number of exchanges it's on. So that's yeah.
Nice. And last one from Alexandre Ignacio. Tim, thanks for your continuous growth and helping us grow along with you. Your knowledge is several levels up since I started watching you guys last March. Thank you, Jebb, and the whole team.
Yeah.
He's an OG because
He is an OG.
I was watching I was watching some of the shows in March, and just so you guys know how far we've come. In March was when we first had multiple cameras. Our first stream with multiple cameras was in March. Our first stream where it was the three of us was in March. I think the first show that Tim ever hosted was in March.
Oh gosh.
So that was a crazy jump.
The best part of that was the ending.
Yeah,
The best part of that show was the ending. And that's not a joke to say the show was horrible because it was horrible. That was a joke because Smay messed with me.
Those
and that was
I'd encourage you guys, if you're feeling a little nostalgic, just go mosey on back and watch an old show and just see not just the growth from Tim, but genuinely the entire everything has changed in the last couple months. You know what I mean? It's been everything is so much different. And we're just so glad to be able to grow and help provide you guys with better and better and better and better content that helps you guys achieve financial sovereignty while we're all at the same time out here achieving financial sovereignty, going for the same goal as you guys are. And that's why it's so exciting to be here every single day.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. So there we go.
Well, guys, that is it for today. It is past 11 o'clock, so it is time for us to end. But I loved being here with you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Jebb will be back. He'll be here Thursday and Friday, but we'll be out Monday through Wednesday of next week. So look forward to another Tim and Smay takeover. I think Kelly might be joining us via Zoom on those days, so that's going to be awesome. That is all we have for you today. Please, please, please go and have an amazing day, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.